Okay, your assignment for this week is what I call the how-to flowchart. So you'll be creating a flowchart that demonstrates and illustrates, oh, foo, just sign in, sorry, that illustrates some sort of task, and it can be anything from how to make macaroni and cheese. Oh, heavens. What is this? Let's try again. How to throw a baseball, how to um, get ready for school. So any sort of like simple process that can be carried out, you will illustrate using a flowchart. So um, if you click on the assignment down here, you will see, as usual, the instructions, which are very simple. It's basically just like make a copy of the template and make your flowchart. And then your rubric, which I will go over in a second. And then there's a template here, so you can open up that, and it should force you to make a copy. It is a Google Drawing. And you will see over here the instructions and all the things that you need to include. Also, I've put all the shapes in for you, so all that you have to do is just copy and paste them. So everyone can say, thank you, Mrs. Streeter. So what you're going to do, like I said, is create a how-to flowchart. It has to have all of these things over here. So a start and end terminal, which I've already included for you here. And then you have to have at least 10 process boxes. So that means you have to have at least 10 things. So for my example of making macaroni and cheese, you have to have 10 things that are like get a pot or add water to the pot, things like that, where you are actually carrying out a function, a process. And then you have to have at least 3 decision rhombuses. So remember, those are when you're asking a yes or no question, making some sort of decision. So maybe do you want let's see, is there enough water in the pot? Yes or no. Is the water boiling? Those are decisions that would need to be made. And then you'll need to have arrows to show the flow of logic. And I thought I had taken this due date out, but it'll probably still be on your copy, so you can just ignore that. So what you're going to do is just click and drag the start and end terminals where you need them. And then what you can do is just make copies of these shapes. So and then I put the numbers in here as well, so you remember how many that you need to have. So just copy and paste these as needed, and then create your flowchart that way. So what you'll do is make copies of these, drag them over here however you need them. Like I said, these you can just drag them because you should only need one of each of them. So let's say fill hot with water would be maybe my first process. And then I'm going to insert an arrow. And to do that, you go to Insert, Line, and then there is a line that has an arrow at the end of it. And then you can just click and drag, boop, to show the arrow there. Whoops, I made another one. And then I can make another one. And maybe this one will be enough, whoopsie daisies. Smaller. Enough water. And then remember, whenever you're making a decision, it's a yes or no question. So I can insert a little text box. Yes or no. And then you can continue on with the rest of your flowchart with decisions. So maybe if the answer is yes, then I turn off the faucet. If the answer is no, I can leave water on perhaps, and then you could have an arrow that loops back to enough water, asking over and over. And then you would have the rest of your processes and decisions, and then all that would go to the end when you're finished. So make sure that you have a title up here, that so I know what exactly it is I should be looking at. And So this would be like, how to make macaroni and cheese, so that when it's being graded, we can assess the logic of your flowchart to make sure that it makes sense. Make sure you pay close attention to all the things that you need to have. Make sure that things flow logically and make sense, because you're not just being assessed on the number of shapes that you have. It also has to make sense as a flowchart, which is a great time for me to review the rubric. So 15 points for having the required items, so all the things that are listed on the template, all the shapes and arrows and terminals that you need to have. 7 points is for the logic. So if you have all the shapes and arrows, but it doesn't make sense and it doesn't flow appropriately, depending on what you are trying to illustrate, you'd be losing points in this section. And then 3 points for submission. So that should be something that you are very familiar with at this point. So 25 points total, and you have a week to complete it as usual. Let me think if there's anything else I need to share. You're submitting the shareable link. Oh, I'm not sure if I put it in the instructions or not. Probably not. I think I will not do that this year if I'm not in the classroom. So, if you have any questions, you can ask Miss Shu, or I guess email myself, and I'll try my best to answer those questions.